Howdy folks, Timber Drifter here. So right before I went to hit the camera, I had hit the button to turn the camera on, reached out my finger and a chickadee came and landed right on it. Sat there and stared me right in the eye and turned around, pecked my cuticle, and then flew off the way it came. That'll make you smile. There's a little, I know they're called a flock, but I call them a pack of chickadees. They're like tiny little flying wolves. I think I've been able to count 7 of them. There may be a lot more than that. They're hard to count because there's most of them are on guard or they're staged at different places around while there only typically be 2 feeding on something. So the 2 come down and feed, and then 2 more show up, and those 2 take off, and you'll kind of watch them circle around, keeping an eye and taking turns feeding. So I've been able to count 7 of these, but they don't typically land on me. I think that chickadee was counting coup, pulling a little stunt anyway. But yeah, I don't feed them. They do, when the snow's not covering it, they do eat off of my compost pile. But I don't feed them specifically. But anyway, chickadees wasn't what I was going to talk about. Yeah. So, I've had a number of people contacting me, either texting me or commenting on videos asking why I'm not making videos, or, am I alright or whatever. Yeah, I'm alright. Y'all must be new to the channel. I go a lot longer than this without making videos. Nah, some people just wondering. I'm alright. I just haven't had much to say, and I've occasionally been busy with work and just dealing with wintertime stuff. You can see it's still winter, even though it's spring on the calendar. It's March 28th today. The snow is starting to melt. There's some bare ground here and there. I'm standing on a south-facing spot, so it's actually melted back quite a bit here. I'm standing on dirt, half on ice. And there's some spots back there you can see they're melted down to the base of the trees and things, but in the yard out here, the snow is still knee-deep. Better than a week ago. A 55-gallon drum. Y'all probably know what a 55-gallon drum looks like. Anyway, standing on end, and you couldn't see it. The snow had completely covered it. I'd covered it a while ago, and it melted partway and snowed. That's just how it's been. Typical spring here in northern Wisconsin. That being said, the snow never really got deep enough for me to get my snowshoes out. Because the snow stayed relatively packed. We had so many freeze-thaw cycles that each layer would come down and it would just sit on top of another layer of frozen snow, so it was easy enough to walk, even in waist-high snow for the most part. Yeah, got two sets of snowshoes right over there that I never. One pair is retired, and the other one that are leaning in the corner of the new snowshoes. Well, new to me. Oh, now I've messed up my camera mount. Well, try that. Yeah. Anyway, I did get a couple of strikes on the channel, which a couple of people knew about, and I'll explain that. I didn't know about it right away. All right. I didn't know about the strikes because I don't check my email hardly ever, and I don't look at my I never look at emails that YouTube sends because this channel's not monetized. This is just a hobby to me, and they send those emails telling you how to make your channel better or what's trending or whatever, and I never do any of that shit. So I don't look at them. But I had made a video, and this is going back a month, more, probably 6 weeks ago, maybe more. I don't know. Time passes strangely in winter. And obviously time passes faster on the internet, it seems to me. But I had made a video correcting something I'd said in a comment on a channel that I watch quite a lot about PFOS chemicals. You guys won't know what I'm talking about, but Hillbilly and Muskrat will. And I tried to upload it, and it wouldn't upload. I forget what it said. It just came across the screen and said it wasn't going to upload. And I said, oh, okay. I thought maybe something was wrong with it. I changed I forget all the stuff. The clarity, it wasn't high definition, whatever. I forget all that stuff. I changed some things about the video and tried it again. And then it occurred to me that it wasn't that. I'd seen this before a couple of years ago. So I went and checked my emails, and sure enough, I'd violated community guidelines and had a video removed, and I had a strike. Or I don't even think they said I violated. I think they said they suggested I violated. I don't know. Anyway, I had a strike. So at that same time, maybe a little before that, YouTube was coming down pretty hard on firearms content, which I was aware of. Because the majority of what I watch on YouTube is firearms related. And I'll sit and watch a 2.5 hour video on Sea and Arsenal channel about the development of, early European handguns, obscure stuff, It's my happy place. I'm a gun nut. Mostly interested in antique stuff. I'm not all that interested in well, I do kind of keep an eye on firearms development, but I'm more interested in antique things and stuff like that. So I was aware of what was going on. YouTube had got some new guidelines concerning firearms, and they were pretty randomly and harshly using them. Quite a few channels just disappeared overnight, and a lot of people got strikes. And I remember when they did that a number of years ago too. I figured I was done using YouTube at that point, but they backed off, and they backed off this time. But not before I got a strike on one video, and then 9 days later a second video. When you get a strike, you can't post for a week or whatever. So my videos that I got strikes on were they were private videos. Like I said, they enforce this stuff randomly, but I've seen quite a number of other people talking about this, having private videos removed. Or videos that they'd taken down. Still got a strike on them. Anyway, a friend of mine a couple years ago bought her first handgun. Had no experience with firearms, which is not a good thing. And we don't live anywhere nearby, because I don't live in cities, ever. So I made a video for her explaining how the handgun functioned, explaining safety, all the safety rules. I was pretty heavy on that, like you always do, and then physically showing how the firearm worked, as well as how to take it down, clean it, put it back together. And then I made a second video where I talked about holster selection, ammo selection, legalities, and a couple of training drills, and then a couple of live fire training drills. So those were the two videos that I got strikes on that were private. Each of them, the first one had, I think she watched it 5 times, and the second one she watched like 6 times. So one person viewing each of those videos a few times. So pretty funny that that's what they'd give me a strike on. So I got 2 strikes. So I got one more, and then I'm gone. Right? I am on Rumble. I haven't put any videos up over there yet. I mostly use Rumble to view channels that have been kicked off of YouTube, or stuff that isn't stuff you can't say on YouTube. So I am over there. I didn't try to appeal it or anything. I didn't really care. But so that's that. That was what was going on, and I deleted that video that I was trying to post at that time, thinking there was something wrong with it. Maybe I'll make that video again someday talking about PFOS chemicals, but probably not. So I did have some good fortune around that same time, and I benefited from my friend's misfortune. They were flying out of the country for a vacation, and unexpectedly ended up having to spend a day in Milwaukee. And I said, well, hey, while you're there, why don't you go get me a couple pounds of tobacco at Yuli's Pipe Shop? I was just being an ass. I wasn't actually suggesting that they do that, but they did. They went, well, now we're going. You better tell us what you want. So I got a 7-ounce bag of House of Yuli, which is a vanilla maple Cavendish blend, and then another 7-ounce bag of Perfection plugged burley. So that worked out in my favor. My friend's having to spend a day in Milwaukee. So I'm going to pack up a bowl of this and get that lit and come back and jabber on for a few more minutes. All right. The wind is really blowing stuff around here. It's stopped for a second here. Maybe I can get things readjusted. Maybe not. I should have done that while I was paused, but oh well. Really just want to go that way, don't you? Well, whatever. I ain't going to keep messing with it. Anyway. So right around that same time all that other stuff was going on, I was climbing up a ladder to bust an ice dam off of my roof. I had one that was curving down, the icicles were curving down precariously toward a window, and I was worried that it would actually bust in the window before it fell off. So put my extension ladder up, and I was up there hacking away with a hatchet, and my ladder slipped, and it's sideways, and then twisted, and then I rode the ladder backwards and slammed into a tree about shoulder high, and then hit the ground with my leg tangled up in the ladder. It hurt. I'm not going to lie. That knocked the shit out of me. Well, not quite that bad, metaphorically. But, ended up, I slammed into the tree kind of lower rib cage, sideways, bam. Broke some branches off. I don't believe I broke any ribs, but I sure thumped them hard. I think that was about 6 weeks ago, and I spent about a month not really being able to sleep properly. Could never find a good position. Every breath hurt, every step hurt. Not enough to keep me from doing stuff, but enough to keep me from sleeping well. Never getting a good, there's just no way to lay that would be comfortable. And I hyperextended my knee because it was in the ladder when I slammed onto the ground. So I was going, I think at one point I went over 30 hours with no sleep at all. And that's, you get to a point like that and your body just starts shutting down. Make you take a nap. But any of you that have injured ribs know what I'm talking about. So there's still some pain there when I move around too fast or bend over, take too deep of a breath. But I can sleep now, so my mind is cleared up, which is a good thing because I was getting pretty out there with being sleep deprived, as well as not being able to go for a walk. I've not been for a walk since that happened either because my knee was too messed up to be walking. It's feeling better now. It's just a little crunchy when I move it. So won't be too long I'll be going for walks again. And I need to go for walks, not just for exercise, but because that is what clears my head. It's almost like a manual, I'm going to blow ash all over myself, a manual pump. I have to move. So I haven't been walking any more than I had to. I am really looking forward to just going and stepping out. And it won't be too long before the ice will be off the roads in most places, and I will be able to do that. So I'm just kind of waiting on spring, which the calendar tells me is already here, but my senses tell me otherwise. Looks pretty springy, don't it? And it's trying to figure out, the sky is deciding if it wants to rain or snow right now. It's right at that temperature. about a week ago, we were still having sub-zero temperatures. Had -11 one night. Fahrenheit, of course. People always ask what that is in Celsius, or what the Celsius temperature is. It's -11, 33. That'd be somewhere between -22 or -23 and -24 Celsius, I think. You'll have to look up the conversion yourself if you really want to know. But anyway, that was just less than a week ago. We've had sunny days lately. Yeah, that's coming. That's coming. I'm probably puffing more vigorously than I normally would since I'm making a video, and that usually tends to happen unless I'm very relaxed. And I'm feeling a little hyper today, which is unusual. This is what I look like hyper. Anyway, I don't think I have anything else I want to cover. Nope. Not going to talk about the news. I will at some point, I'm sure. But not right now. I've been avoiding a lot of that kind of stuff the last few weeks. Just kind of getting back into it. Got my waders out for wading through all the bullshit, propaganda. But I'm not going to keep talking about it. This is a really enjoyable tobacco, this House of Yulee. I've talked about it a number of times on this channel. It's a favorite of mine. And so you can puff on that relatively vigorously, and there's no bite or burn, or it's a very mild tobacco. I don't even know that it has nicotine in it. I get nothing out of it that way. But it's one of the few aromatics that I really enjoy smoking. It doesn't irritate my mouth at all. A lot of Cavendish blends leave my well, they have a kind of astringent effect, leave my mouth and lips feeling dry, so I don't smoke them, or very rarely do I. I don't have that with this one. It's just a very enjoyable, tasty, and the flavor is not that strong. It's a very mild smoke. It could be an all-day smoke. Of course, I'd be wanting something else because it ain't got enough nicotine in it. But well, that's enough jabbering. I am watching some videos. I am watching some pipe smoking videos, but I don't catch a whole lot of them. And the occasional live, so still seeing some of y'all. Well, that's it. I can't remember what am I supposed to say at the end of my video. Go outside. That's it. You'll take care. Get outside.